fashion, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a tie. Fashion has always been a passion of mine. I come from a very creative, just dreamy, kind of just, they wake up and they just have an idea of like a billion things they can just spin off of. But fashion is like where my heart is. Other than basketball, they like split it down the middle. Yeah. I love seeing someone's face when they have that outfit on that makes them feel like a new person. Mm-hmm. Seeing tall women, I'm 6'2", it's for us to shop, and I really want to have a clothing line that's developed mainly for us, not just athletes, because not only tall athletes need clothes. Absolutely. I see body types of all type. I style my sister, she's half my height. I've styled some of my taller friends in college. Everyone was in my closet, and I had probably the least amount of clothes, but you wouldn't know it because I was so creative in what I did. I was drawing outside of practice. I ended up getting a sketchbook. I enrolled in art classes, even though I was a public health major. Like, why are you doing art class? Yeah. But I definitely want to do that outside of basketball, and I'm continuing to do that. And I'm actually thinking about, trying to enroll in some type of fashion school while I'm gone, probably online, most likely. But when I'm reading about fashion, my mind just opens up just as much as it did back in the day when I started watching basketball clips and people that I looked up to doing things that I wanted to do. So absolutely. I have a lot of love for fashion.
Well, we're going to have to see about connecting you with some fashion designers, so maybe you guys can share some ideas. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, I think we've talked a few times. I have a cousin who's a fashion designer, Celia Sweet Kilgore. She and her husband, Michael, have always designed. Actually, she attended school, and that's all she's ever done. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to connect you guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes, indeed.
I love meeting people.
There you go. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking with Ms. Jasmine Watson, professional basketball player, last year in Romania, and this year we're going to talk a little bit more about what you're going to be doing and where you're going to be going. Tell me just a little bit about some ways that you've grown. I know last summer when we were talking and meeting and having sessions, you were preparing, and there was some development that you were really focusing on there. I will tell you, you've been like a gazelle. I mean, you just maybe more like a peacock, if you will. I've really some development. Not to say that wasn't good to begin with, but you just keep getting better and better. So we are really, my wife and I, are really impressed by you.
Thank you.
Tell us about some things and some ways that you've grown.
Well, I knew being a professional that my mindset needed to change. I've always been a workhorse. You can ask any of my coaches. I've always worked till I couldn't work anymore. So that wasn't something I was worried about. I knew once I got there I was going to work, but my mental, which is so important for an athlete and a lot of businesses, a lot of business ventures, I needed to be mentally stable, mentally strong. I went through college. You're trying to learn who you are at the same time, and you need to be responsible. I knew I needed to be responsible. I was a captain. I was one of the top scorers, so I had all of that. And instead of me looking at it as far as like a push and a structure, something for me to base my strength on, I kind of let it weigh me down a little bit. So I prayed on it a lot, and I just cleared my mind. I knew I needed a different type of mindset. So when I got there, I just had an open mind, open heart, and I just ended up taking everything in. My mental strength got turned around tenfold. I was able to bounce back from plays that I wouldn't have been able to bounce back from in college and high school, anything. My work ethic didn't change, which it didn't need to. It can always get better, but it didn't decrease. I needed both of them to kind of catch up to each other.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I definitely felt that. And when I came back, everybody's like, "Oh, you just seem so different." But wow. I knew I did it unconsciously, but now I see how much I grew because it's affecting how I handle businesses, how I talk to people. Everything works together. When you're a great businesswoman, you're a great daughter, a great this and a great that. So they all just kind of blend in together.
Absolutely. Those are some really incredible attributes, and we'll come back and visit some of those a little bit later because I would like to share Bring Your A Game, and those are some of the attributes that we share with young athletes. But I do want to kind of give some credit where credit is due, as you were talking about that mental toughness and that physical toughness and some of the things that you were doing. Last year, we invested a lot of time together out at the gym with Coach Scotty.
Yeah,
so Scotty Mason in the Memphis area, excellent drills and skills guy,
great coach.
Just really tough.
Yeah.
And but everything that he asked you to do. You did it.
Yeah.
Some of it you guys had to fight.
Oh, yeah. That's how you know you have a great relationship with a trainer or a coach. If you don't ever look at the coach like, I'm going to get you back, you know, then it's not the same. But you definitely need somebody to push you, to make you get to that point where you want to scream at him and scream at yourself, because you're giving everything. Basketball is such an emotional and physical, mental, it's so much, it takes a lot out of you. So you need to be able to handle it from him. Coach, now he's not going to cut you. A coach will cut you. So if you can't take it from a trainer, a coach just, okay, bye-bye.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Coach Scotty, thank you very much for all that you've done and all that you do. And then we know that there's more to come. Now, you've talked about how you have grown.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the areas that you would like to continue to develop or continue to grow in.
I think I mentioned it, that I wanted my work ethic and my mental strength to catch up with each other. So I think that would be what I'm looking forward to most. My training that I'm doing now, that the physical, I can go to the gym anytime. You can't go to the gym and work on your mental game. You know, you can incorporate it by pushing yourself, but there are times when you need to think about outside of it, outside of the gym. What do I need to do? Write it down. You know, what are my goals? And I'm definitely a more aware person. I'm aware of myself. I'm aware of other things that I need to work on. Like last year, I mentioned my father saying to be aware is to be alive. You can't fix something if you're in denial. You can't fix something if you're not willing to face it. If you have a bad left hand and you just say, I'll work on it, or I don't need it, it's gonna catch up with you. Wow. So me having that mental lapse caught up with me last summer, and I knew I refused to take that with me into my professional life. I knew I needed a new start. It's a different world. You know, you earn a scholarship in college, you have to work to keep it, you have to work to maintain that good name for yourself. Absolutely. But it's still not the same as being a professional, because they cut you quicker than college ever will.
Wow.
You know, you can have a great relationship with the coach, but if you're not giving them what they signed you for and agreed on, then they have the right to just let you go.
Absolutely.
So you shouldn't think of it as letting go. You should think of it as, that's not an option.
Absolutely.
Me being cut, that's not an option. Me staying here and proving I deserve to be here is the only thing you should worry about.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that mental piece, going back once again, and obviously for those people who know me, they realize that if it's not the truth, I'm not going to say it. But there were comments that you would put on Facebook, or that we would communicate via messaging when you were away, that were really strong. And when you said, this isn't an option and that isn't an option, I can recall some of those messages, and I could feel that growth, and I could feel that that tenacity. I think before you left, I sent all these clips of these Rocky movies and all of that, so I know that you're probably thinking, wow, what's going on? But I think, quite honestly, you were delivering like Rocky on the basketball court. So, so it paid off.
Yeah, hard work will always pay off. It's not gonna always happen when you want it. Just think if you didn't do anything at all.
Absolutely, yes,
it's never gonna change. So.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we want to make sure that you guys realize who we're talking with. We are speaking to Ms. Jasmine Watson, 4-year college graduate, high performer in high school academically and on the basketball court, and she has really transformed into being just an excellent athlete, a superb woman, and a Christian. To say that would be first and foremost. So just a perfect example for any young lady or any young person who's interested in becoming an athlete. Reach out to her on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's Jasmine Truly Blessed Watson, and I can be reached, Coach Ricky Tucker, at 901-870-7492, or by email at ricksinternational@msn.com. We need to get this young lady out to some young people to speak, to talk with them, to share some words of wisdom, to do some coaching, because you have started actually coaching young people. Yes, indeed. There's some things that we talk about on a regular basis, and my wife has actually developed some products for us, and we call them the ABCs. bring your A game, plan B, which is you're already transitioning into plan B for business, and then that career transition. Just to talk a bit about bringing your A game, they are academics, athletics, association, attitude, and anchors. As it relates to things like the attitude of the A game, what kind of an impact does that have on an athlete or you, for example?
Attitude is everything. Attitude affects every single aspect of your life. How you approach it mentally is half the battle. If you're already stepping into a job interview saying you probably won't get it, all these excuses, you're already defeating yourself. You're not going to go in with that same confidence. So you have to, in my belief, in my religion, I'm definitely believe in declaring it. You know, that's something I'm really big on, like saying I refuse to not succeed. I refuse to fall into what everyone else does. So just that attitude alone sets me above people that I know, people that maybe I grew up with doubting me, you know, saying things like, you know, she probably won't go anywhere. I knew in my heart, and I declared it way before they even said anything to me, that it was going to happen. And by my faith and by my work ethic that I was blessed with, that I kind of retained from working with so many different people, I was able to do that. And I was able to do it for myself. So now that I'm older, I have that much more confidence in where I'm going.
Okay, that sounds good. You are far enough ahead now to where you can start giving advice.
Right.
As you think about the young people that are coming behind you, and quite honestly, you could have some people, whether they are peers, teammates, etc.
Right.
What kind of advice would you give to a young athlete?
To stay focused on what you really want, and once you figure that out, put all into it, because there's nothing negative that comes out of going 100%, and that's in practice, that's in workouts, that's in meeting people. Give your all for everything, and make sure it's what you want. If you really want to be an athlete, then put that all into it. That's with anything. And be business savvy. Everything is a business. Meeting people is part of your business. Having a bad impression on people is part of your business. You want to be the whole package. You want to be a well-rounded individual and be secure in that type of person you are. And when I start training people and coaching and things like that, I'm going to instill that in my players and anyone that I work with. You know, be happy with who you are and know what you want in life, and then go out and get it. Nothing should stop you, but nothing can stop you but yourself.
Wow. This is more of a final question, because you know that when we meet, we talk hours.
Oh yeah,
at a
hours and hours.
Yeah. But as we are we're shutting down, and this being our last question, I'd like for you to just give a quick closing remark to the people that you love and that you care about, that have made an impression in your life. What would you say to them in a few words?
That I'm grateful. You know, I'm a very, very humble person. That's another part of being, to me, a good person. Someone that's a good person is definitely humble. Success can alter you, but it should only make you a better person. Be a good person. I think that's really important. You know, you can't control how other people treat you. You can't control what other people do. But be a good person. Go to sleep knowing you gave your all that day. Go to sleep knowing you did a good deed for somebody. Go to sleep knowing that you were a good person. You didn't do anything harmful to anybody. And it'll make your life better. It'll make you feel a lot better about the things that are going on in your life.
Great.
And definitely take care of you first.
There you have it.
And everything else will fall into place.
So, Mom, Dad, Grandma, the rest of the family members, thank you so much for all that you've done to make this young lady what she is. All of the coaches, everybody that's had an impact. Once again, I am Ricky Tucker, Coach Ricks, and this has been Jasmine Watson, professional basketball player. We are looking forward to hearing some great things from her. She can be reached on Facebook.